Everybody, in this episode, we are doing our weekly NFT news recap. So every Friday, this gang, the Dream Team, curates articles and curates news stories in the NFT space and discusses what happened this week. What the hell is going on? I'm P.O. here with Nifty Nick, Benjamin, and a King Kicks himself. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice. We are not financial advisors. The NFT space is insanely risky. So please always do your own research. And as always, make sure that you hit the like button and smash the subscribe button. All the content is sponsored by FTX. You can sign up at the nifty.com/FTX or with our code, the Nifty, on the FTX mobile app. If you spend over $200 on FTX buying crypto with our code, you will get $20 of bonus crypto for free popped in your account. And we're also down bad. I know you need that money. But gentlemen, happy Friday. We got a lot to talk about. Nick is in the throes. If you want to talk about a news story, a current news story is the red candle epidemic that's happening with Bitcoin. Nick, are you going to double down? What's going on?
Maybe just real quick, we just do a quick update and then we'll move on to the news stories of what's gone on over the past week, right? And the easiest way of viewing it, rather than the hourly, which is going to drive you absolutely mad, is just looking at the daily. And on the we're looking pretty nice, is how I would say this. And did you mute me or what happened there?
I accidentally muted you for a second. There's a little bit of feedback, and there always is when we do 4 people. I was just trying to resolve that, but go ahead.
Okay, maybe we can mute the other people, but because no one wants to hear them anyway. So the way that the way I was targeting this before was exactly what we had discussed, was that triple bottom, right? We had the 1, 2, 3, and then up. The target was up from here. So this is what, 21.6 down to, call it 19. So we were looking at 2,500 off of this. So we were looking for 24,000. We briefly tapped it and we've come down off of it. It was immediately rejected, but it was not sitting there for a long period of time. The daily makes you feel a little more comfortable. Oh, are you me and you entered at 23,000 because you were ready for this bad boy to rip to 30? Excellent. Did you buy a couple of Bitcoin at that price? Cool. So now you're down about $1,000. So what happens then? Here's my general thought, what I'd like to see, and this has been just messing me up, and I'm not exiting the trade anymore. I'm tired of trading in between. I'd like to see something like this. I like to see straight to the moon, wha-bam, that sort of direction. That's what I'm aiming for at this point, off of this level. That's what we're going for. So I'm going to hold it all the way down, lose $2,000, and then I'm thinking of buying more Bitcoin at that point in time and just sending it. Is this a smart decision? No. This is literally bad trading. Like, I want to be clear. I'm now at a point where I'm trying to make some bad trades. Marin said August 1st, the world is ending. I'm not betting against her. I'm giving it a couple of days. I'm thinking by August 1st, we're at 30K. We just run that bad boy real quick, straight to the top, to the moon, and then we bounce off of it. This seems like a reasonable, understandable expectation of 50% run in 1 week. That's all that I'm asking. That's all that I'm asking for, okay?
All right. Any comment from Kicks or Benjamin on which way we're going to go from here?
I wouldn't be surprised if we chopped, within that range that he's talking about, but I do anticipate a little bit more bearish action, probably bringing it below where that support is. And that range that it was currently at previously, that the range that it was at previously, I think is probably going to, jump back down in there until we get a little bit closer to the midterms. So I think the summer is still going to have some more pain.
So you're saying something like this?
Through the floor. No, but within that mid range that you have, the larger one your triple bottom,
which is actually probably the better way of trading this, is what you're saying is we're ranging in here basically. Mm-hmm. This is the range, and that we overshot it. Maybe the range is even. This is the top of the range, so we're looking at going between here and there. is what you're looking for, and then maybe some overshoots in either direction. Is that how you play this?
Yeah. And if you look even further back, right around mid-June, June 15th or so, where your line is, I think that drop right there was so sudden, was similar to the big candle, the green one that we just saw. I think that it might retrace that back to the middle of the range. So that's my, I'm not telling people where they should be trading, but
You're telling them.
I have personal buy limits on ETH down, 1,400 down to like 1050 every like $100 or so.
So Ben's take is this was an overshoot. My take is this is an undershoot, and we're going straight up. I'm making 50% in the next week. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I'll double down all the way down.
Let's go.
I'd be happy to. I have bags, but like if it drops lower, I'm just DCAing. Otherwise, I'd be happy for the price to keep going up.
I like it. Well, this is perfect. This is just eating into the cost of me buying art and dinner. So that's what we're losing right now. Anyways, should we move on? Any other kicks? You got any take on what's your position in the market right now?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to tell. I think it was a lot more obvious when it was, down at 20,000 or 21,000 that there was some, upside move to be made. I think if you're like talking about like a short-term horizon, I think it's a lot more murky. I think on a longer-term horizon, if you invert the chart of Bitcoin, I'd probably want to short it. So that's probably pretty bullish on the long-term horizon. Arthur Hayes, the infamous Arthur Hayes, also came out with another blog post yesterday. And I, to summarize, felt like there was a pretty good chance that the bottom is in, but also that there's a decent chance that we retest the bottom. Arthur said that he's personally willing to miss some of the upside to wait for confirmation of his thesis, and confirmation of his thesis is that the Fed will stop its tightening.
When?
Yeah, and probably like sometime in 2023 was what he said.
Okay.
So he said he's just going to, he's willing to miss some upside to, wait for the, confirmation to get back in, and clearly stated that people that are willing to take more risk and get in before the news confirmation will obviously see some more upside. I personally think that, potentially maybe in, early August, maybe Marin's right, and we have, a little bit of downward action. I do know that I think in August there is no Fed meeting because they get like summer vacation.
Yep.
And then
you got
September,
July and then September.
Yeah, September is the next one. So especially when you look at the that there's an election cycle happening in the United States in November, that there is a potential that we see like a good Q4 this year. Or we don't. I mean, I think it's all a guessing game. I think that if you trade technicals,
or we don't,
or you don't, right?
We go up, or we go down.
No, we will, because that's how politics works. They're just going to pump the market to favor themselves real quick. Otherwise, the other side will hold it against them. We also, by the way, have a Fed meeting November 1st.
Yummy.
That's juicy. All right, moving on. So we are going to talk about some of the stories of the week in the NFT space. So we're going to refer to Ben's news platform, this sick news platform, NFT Soapbox. Shout out to Ben, for having this. So look, this is a thread on the future of NFT Worlds. We talked about this on the morning show.
NFT Soapbox, what is that?
That is what I just said multiple times, Ben's news platform. And so
it's a Twitter account where I share NFT relevant news.
Okay.
Yep. His news platform for the 5th time.
I understand you didn't say where it was, okay? But I appreciate should we spend more time on this? You attacking my question?
And so anyway, NFT Worlds, very popular, former top 5, top 3 metaverse related NFT project, basically has had its legs, swept from underneath it because Minecraft, the video game platform, or 3D, Kicks would know better than me, 3D world building video game platform, whatever it is, that it's built on, has effectively gone on record saying that they are not allowing NFT projects to build on their software, on their platform, which is a big deal. And, Nick comes from the world of Facebook and Web 2, where Facebook and other, big companies were allowing developers to build apps on top of their platforms. And, but if they wanted to, that's heavy centralization. You can just put a nix on it. And that's kind of what happened here. So a lot of people bought the top on NFT Worlds at 18 ETH and with ETH at $3,000. And now they're looking at NFT Worlds at 1.5 ETH with ETH at, $1,500 or something like that. So it's a big drop. They've declared a few ways that they can go, but I don't think anybody's that excited about any individual way. I think people are still bullish on the founding team. But yeah, I'd love to know what Kix thinks of this, and then we can quickly get a little roundtable going.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that, Nick brought up some of his previous experiences, building on other tech platforms. He mentioned Facebook, but a similar thing happened with Twitter. And basically, there's always an inherent risk whenever you're building on top of someone else's technology, right? There's just always an inherent risk when that comes. Also, the fact that like Minecraft and Mojang didn't come out and explicitly take a position one way or the other on NFTs, kind of compounded that risk. It's not like Minecraft was pro NFTs, then NFT Worlds launched, and then they like went anti NFTs, right? Like this is their first stance on NFTs. And this was, things that people brought up multiple times when they were like weighing whether to invest in NFT Worlds or not. It was always like a known risk that if Minecraft or Mojang took a negative stance, that it could really materially impact this ecosystem that they've been trying to build. So it's definitely unfortunate news. And, this is a project that a lot of people were really, really excited about, but, yeah, now the reality has set in for them, and they're looking at some potential ways to pivot the project. If you're looking at the floor prices, it bottomed out at 0.5. I think it's now back up to 1.3. I definitely don't think that they're going to quit or give up, but this is a very tough situation to navigate out of without any real easy answers. I think the easiest or the clearest path forward would be to either create or acquire a Minecraft clone. They laid that out as a potential option.
Ben, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's difficult when you have to do such a massive pivot, and their initial feature was going to be that people can essentially log in through Minecraft platform. So they already have the users there. So all they have to do is just like branch off into what we're doing. And then eventually they were creating their own way to launch into their services. But I think, their pivot, like, it is going to be difficult. You have people who have a head start on them in the space. They were doing something that was comparable to Sandbox, but in a way that was a lot more excessive. It was big. It was very accessible as well. All you needed to do was have one of these 10,000 worlds that they had a free mint of. And when you look at Sandbox, that's a lot more built out, but the same type, that blocky mentality. I think that's where a lot of the visibility will still go to. And they said in this, so they wrote out a little article in addition to the thread, and they said that they're creating a new gaming platform based off the core mechanics, but it's not a rewrite of a Minecraft clone, which would likely violate the EULA. It's going to be entirely from the ground up. So they do have a community. They do have people that are, supportive of what they're doing. But I think it's definitely an uphill battle, especially because what they plan to do and with the tokenomics that they already have and released and have staking and all that, it's going to be a difficult pivot. And I think that they're capable enough to be able to do something, but it doesn't mean that this is something that's going to be an overnight success, and I think adds a lot more risk.
Yeah, I'm completely in agreement with that. especially when you think about the time that it would take to, build a competing product. I would estimate that's, at least 2 years to get it fully fleshed out, maybe like 1 year to get to some sort of workable alpha. That's a long time for a project essentially to be sitting at standstill when there's already token emissions. And the wild thing too is this isn't just one project that's impacted, because there was a whole ecosystem of other projects that like built on top of NFT World. So there's, layers of challenges, to this problem. But yeah, tough situation to be in.
Absolutely. Nick, any thoughts?
No, we can move on, because I just don't think they're the real synopsis of this is they made a bad bet, they failed, they're fucked.
All right.
Never want to mince words.
So 3 Arrows Capital.
Good luck with the pivot.
Jesus. All right, Nick. Nick's opinion does not represent the opinion of this organization. Okay. Anyway,
I mean, that's basically the situation. Like, straight up, they got the rug pulled from out of them, and we're just like, yeah, they're gonna be able to really make an adjustment here and just pivot everything. Their entire business was building on Minecraft. Like, that was the business. The entire business, the whole pitch was, we're building this thing on Minecraft. Buy this NFT, it grants you access to a Minecraft world. And now Minecraft says, you can't do that. It's against the terms. Get the fuck out of here. And they say, cool, we're going to go start from scratch. Just trust us. We'll figure it out. What are you talking about? The business is dead. Shut it down. Just end it. Move on. They're going to come back. I believe in the developers, but that really is the end of it. Could you imagine, like, let's think about this for a second. You go and buy something, and you're at a Kickstarter project. You buy it, and they're like, yo, we're going to sell you, we're reinventing computers. We're going to deliver you a new computer. And it's going to be built on top of, but it's going to be built with the back end of Android. And everyone's like, man, this looks fucking dope, awesome. And then suddenly Google comes out of nowhere and says, hey, you can't do that. Sorry, like, you just literally can't build that. But they've already raised millions of dollars on it. And they come back to you and they're like, yo, guys, it's all good. We're going to now go build an operating system from scratch that's going to compete with Android. And you're going to be like, yeah, okay. Like, how's that going to work? Anyways, it's as simple as that. I mean, look, I think that the developers behind this are great people. I'm just speaking about the business entity itself. It's probably screwed. So I would not be buying into this project at this point. I'd love to set up a GoFundMe for the founders, but they don't need it because they have a bunch of cash from selling a bunch of NFTs. So I think they'll figure something out.
It was a free mint, but yes, they obviously made a ton of money on royalties because the project exploded and had a massively high floor and a ton of volume. Moving on, the story of the week. We don't need to spend too much time on this, but it's basically the story of the month. 3 Arrows Capital, crypto hedge fund, also had a sizable NFT portfolio, finally broke their silence over the collapse of their fund. Suzu and Davies, the other founder, say losses that were sparked by the fund collapse are regrettable. I got no sympathy for these guys. Talk about no risk management. Also, no risk management by the institutions that were lending to them. The percentage of capital that was borrowed that they were just slinging around in the crypto and NFT markets is insane. They were completely not prepared for any sort of bear market scenario, even though they were letting it rip the whole bull market. They really thought it was up only forever. They blew up like an atom bomb. This is the story of the space. Their NFT collection is preposterous. They were just aping in at the absolute top of all of the fine art PFP or the fine art pieces from summer 2021, just buying the top, buying rares, flinging around 600K, 700K, 1.1 million on individual NFTs like it was nothing, and didn't even buy that many like Bored Apes and the things that end up really cooking afterwards. They have some, but not that many. So yeah, I mean, look, it's the biggest egg on your face moment that I can think of, in the past 2.5 years in crypto. We can quickly do a run. Does anybody have a different opinion? I don't know if anybody has anything to add to that. I don't know.
The only interesting thing I have to add is that I was listening to a Spaces earlier where they were talking about, because a lot of people have been speculating that the NFT collection is going to get, liquidated / auctioned off at some point in time. And someone interestingly said that, you probably want to be
Theo's frozen, by the way. It's looking great.
you probably want to be careful bidding on those things unless it's very clear that those auctions are being set up by the liquidators themselves, right? Else you could run into this weird situation where like you spent $100,000 buying one of their, one of the pieces from their collection, and it wasn't actually like approved by liquidators, and then you have liquidators coming after you for more money. But yeah.
Anybody else?
I just thought the story, even though it's just so horrible, there was some comedy in it, in that they were just like dodging creditors but putting down payments on yachts. It's just like there's going to be documentaries about this stuff that are just going to be so absolutely ridiculous. It's going to make the Wolf of Wall Street look like fucking, Toy Story.
At the end of the day, it's funny that a lot of people thought that they were like psyopsing about like believing in actually being bullish about like a super cycle, but in all actuality, they actually did believe.
Oh, they believed for sure. They thought the money would never stop.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on. Bored Ape founders communicate their plans for the Otherside Metaverse in an exclusive interview with TechCrunch. This is the most information that's been disclosed about Otherside and the Otherdeed NFT project since the drop, although really not that much information was actually disclosed. What do we think? It's going to take a long time for any of this to really come to light. They expressed they want an open metaverse. Having said that, it's not like a truly open network. Anybody have any thoughts on this story?
So Ben, you hop in first, man. You're the big ape daddy on campus.
Yeah. So I think what's so interesting about this story is not what was said in the story. I think it's what the most interesting part is that the founders are becoming more public over the last week and a half or so. Like you might have seen Gordon started talking about he said he's been waiting a long time. He started talking about other projects. Gargamel started coming out and talking a lot more about like just like kind of like they're trying to build rapport with the community in a way that they hadn't really done over the last year. And for the founders to come out and speak, they very rarely do interviews besides like talking about like the Ryder Rip stuff. So I think it's less about what was said in the article and more about they're coming out of their shell in a way that they haven't done in a while. And that kind of leads me to believe that things are kind of more imminent than we would have thought otherwise. And with not just a tech demo happening, but multiple tech demos and then the rest of the roadmap, I think that it's just really bullish to see the founders getting a lot more involved personally, and there's less speculation, and it's more about this being run as a company and improbable collaboration. And so what's said in the article was interesting. They talked about it being like a much bigger and more accessible Grand Theft Auto, but I think we all kind of knew that. So for me, it's the story behind the story.
Well put, Nick. Any thoughts as a Bored Ape?
They've been doing a great job. No, I was gonna say, so they
I see what you did there.
Did you? So I think it's just impressive. Last year they were just a bunch of racist founders, as we're aware, and what we found out was they were able to execute on, just continuously execute. I think it's quite impressive what they've done so far, and the fact that they have all these demos, despite the fact that it's in partnership with another company, is incredibly impressive. There's basically no one in this space that's comparable. What's like the runner-up? Like what is
Kevin Rose, Moonbirds?
Is Moonbirds? And Moonbirds has delivered a couple of things, and we're like, wow, they have a website. Like, that's what we're going to have a website as well. Get ready for that. But I think what's crazy is that just the bar. Yeah, someone said Doodles. That's a good one. They've built a lot of stuff. But really, it's just like nobody has executed in the way that they have. And everyone's just making a copycat of Bored Ape Yacht Club at this point. Like, we're all just like, yeah, I guess this is
what have they executed on?
Yuga Labs? Let me break it down for you there, Chief. So I should say King. My apologies.
King, put some respect on his name.
Yeah. So first they dropped the dogs. No one was expecting that. Then they dropped the mutants, and we're just like, oh my god, what the hell are these mutants? We made just a ton of cash. Then they end up dropping the ape coin, and we're just like, oh my god, we're fucking rich again. Then they end up dropping the land, and we're just like, what? They dropped another NFT. Holy cow,
wow.
cannoli.
I'm so captivated.
They also did some events, multiple events with multiple celebrities. And then they just sat back and, handled the racist FUD backlash.
What happened to that story? Where's that story been?
In the courts now.
Yeah.
So basically they've launched NFTs.
No, they've done more, and I think that doesn't get talked about as much. They dropped us a basketball early on. That was
oh yeah.
No, I'm serious. They dropped the NFT. It wasn't very impressive of a NFT, but we got the Bored Ape basketballs, the actual ones. Like I have two up here with collaboration with Round 21. They put out video games. They did treasure hunts. They did multiple ones of those, and they had pretty big prizes for some of the games that were very unique to the industry. The mutants wasn't just about the airdrop and the claim. It was about how it was done and the way that they gave you serums that in itself had their own value to them. And they had different types of rarities that people were able to win an M2 or an M3 that, did different things. So the serums themselves mutated them differently depending on which ones you had. So they've been innovative, and they've done things that a lot of other projects haven't done. They have a Rolling Stone collaboration where they put out comics, and that was pretty cheap. So they've done a lot of things, even though most of the attention goes to the drops themselves. But the way that they've done things has been pretty innovative for the most part, and done without fail, besides the other deeds launch, which, we can all admit was pretty catastrophic. So besides that, I think they have done a lot that just doesn't really get talked about as much.
Captain Kicks or King Kicks, how do you feel stupid now as a result of that? I mean, what's going on?
I love Yuga Labs. I'm not hating on Yuga Labs. I just think it's funny when people put them on such a pedestal like that. They've done these absolutely groundbreaking things when in essence they've airdropped NFTs. They slightly innovated the Meebits claim/mint model, and then they partnered with another A16Z funded company to accelerate a metaverse demo that the company has been working on for 9 years now.
Who cares though? They have the foresight to be able to do that in a way that other projects aren't.
They're great. They're amazing marketers, and they're definitely like pushing the envelope. But my point being is it's not like what they have done is this insane leagues ahead of other people sort of things. I mean, Cool Cats has launched an NFT, launched derivative NFTs, launched a coin, launched a game, and everyone looks at them like they're an absolute clown show. Just my point being that I 100% agree that they're the de facto leader and that they've done great things. I'm just saying that they're not this like 100 miles ahead of the next person kind of thing in terms of what is actually on paper. But I'm 100% with you that the way that they're doing things is as a leader, and it's not a drop in the bucket to make such a like strong partnership with a company like Improbable to get their metaverse strategy out before anyone else. These people are
Right.
obviously very talented creatively, obviously very talented from a business and business development standpoint. So they are clearly number one, like 100% number one. What I am just trying to say is that I think that there is potential for other people to compete in this space. Just recently, I've heard these
No doubt.
takes like CloneX botched drop a little bit, and Moonbirds gave people fanny packs, and I'm seeing people tweet on Twitter like, "Why buy any of these? Just get a mutant, man. It's like you and no one else." And I'm like, "Okay, like
Yeah.
cool your jets, buddy. Like there's
Yeah, I'm not a maxi
yeah,
by
they're
any
not.
means.
They're
Nifty
not
Portal.
like in space, and everyone else is like trying to make fire in caves. Like, oh.
I agree.
Um,
I don't disagree with anything you said. I'm with you there.
Yeah, and I'm very excited for other side and other deeds, especially the fact that they're really pushing hard on trying to make this more of a not decentralized protocol, but a protocol where a lot of other people are going to be building experiences on top. I mean, I think that's the true Web3 strategy. That's what Sandbox is doing. That's what Decentraland is doing. Seeing other deeds do this is fantastic. So I know we got to wrap up this this topic here, but yeah, I'm still very, very bullish on what they're trying to pull off. I will note one thing though, that it is interesting. We talked about the NFT world risk of building on top of other ecosystems. And there will be that same risk for people that want to build on top of other deeds in terms of, the pros and cons of doing something yourself versus building. But I do think that building on other deeds is a much smarter strategy than building on a Web2 platform that hasn't made an official stance on NFTs. But
Right.
Some more subtle digs at the last story that we covered. All right, moving on. We've had multiple issues in the NFT space. What else is new? With hacks recently, there's apparently been quite a bit of targeting of various Twitter accounts. Some of the biggest Twitter accounts, including Zeneca and Keyboard Monkey, have been hacked. Zeneca, his hack actually resulted in a lot of people losing money because there was a fraudulent link posted and it drained people's wallets. His response was basically one encouraging people to take responsibility themselves to have good security practices, because otherwise we're kind of just going through this over and over again with people refunding people that got hacked and everything in between. I'm on Zeneca's side on this. You got to have some good security. You got to have physical security like YubiKeys, authenticators like Authy, all these different brands or different, options, different tools to be able to protect yourself. Gentlemen, what do you make of all this? Do you feel like his take was on point? Do you feel like it was in the wrong direction? What are you thinking?
yeah, I mean, I think what's more of a question to me is how these accounts are actually getting hacked. Whether they're getting hacked with SIM swapping, which is a known thing, where basically someone is able to like almost impersonate your phone with another phone device and then do a two-factor authentication and get the code, right? So like for me, for example, I've just turned off 2FA, so they'd have to guess my very tricky password to get in. But I mean, also, is this like an inside job at Twitter? Once
You're
again,
like, and I click on phishing links
all the time, dude. Easy, man. But yeah, I'm very curious to what the source of these hacks are, whether it's an inside job or whether it is, just like a traditional like SIM swap kind of thing, which has definitely happened in the past to people. But I mean, at the end of the day, don't mint off of a random tweet. Like that should be the real like kind of education. We need not just education on like securing your own account, but also like logical education on like has Zeneca ever just randomly tweeted like with where you can't comment on the tweet? Like, you know what I mean? Like red flags should be shooting up in your head. Like Zeneca just posted a random tweet to buy stuff from Zen Academy, right, even though that's completely not on their roadmap, and he disabled people commenting on the tweet. Like red flags should be going off left to right, up and down. So there's responsibility on both ends of the spectrum.
Anyone else?
I also think, like, man, there's so much. It can easily be summarized. The user experience in the crypto space sucks, and it needs to be improved. and the responsibility is on the individual, the companies developing these experiences. I think of MetaMask. I think of the other, MetaMask is where all of these hacks happen. Literally all of them. They all happen within MetaMask. People go on there, they go mint from a site. There needs to be more effective systems that are in place there. We also need separately, need some way, like Twitter needs to be more proactive in them protecting end users, because essentially they're a phenomenal platform for people being robbed and they don't seem to give a shit. So those two
you think
things,
that MetaMask would have like a little bit more of like a warning if you're like setting approval for someone to like take all of your assets? That should probably be like a big pop-up, like, hey, 99.9% of the time, this is a really dumb decision. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm stealing Brian Brinkman's joke, but Nick, are you a little bit offended that you haven't been hacked? Does that mean that you're really not that like big of an influencer in the space, or what's your take on that?
I don't like to talk about my personal security, but let's just say I'm not even going to answer that question, but I feel perfectly okay with it.
Gotcha. So you're deflecting. Cool.
So yeah, yep, you gotta have some decent security. It is a tough game out there in crypto for sure. What are you gonna do? So moving on, Gutter Cat Gang, project that Ben is a fan of and an owner of. He's sporting a hat today. You know, they got a little tweet from Draftkings. Sounds like they're gonna actually be having a commercial run, on ESPN. They're leaning into this really cool angle of like sports and like,
what league is this?
This right here,
the basketball tournament. It's on ESPN.
But so the basketball tournament, is it like a summer league?
I think it's like a private league, and it's so they either own or sponsor that team in the black, and they're making a run in the tournament right now.
That's legit, dude.
I guess
They're
it's
winning,
like the
dude.
big three. Yeah, they're ranked number one. They're
yeah, and
going
his
to the
team
quarterfinals.
is Team Arkansas. Is that another NFT project?
Arkansas.
Huh?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I think what exposure they're getting from these stories and being on that, and getting people from ESPN tweeting about it is good for NFTs in general as well.
Totally. I like their angle because it's like true. Like the thing about Gutter Cat that's like awesome is that they've always stuck to like their vibe, their like what they are trying to be as a project. You know what I mean? And I really, really, really respect that. I've loved Gutter Cats since the day that I minted them. I always thought the art was just so cool, like kind of grungy, kind of street art, and it was just really well done. Exactly. And it like they're following. They're not. A lot of the problems that these NFT projects go in is they like try to change their brand identity to keep up with just like a short-term trend or something like that. And I just like to see Gutter Cat Gang sticking to their guns. All of us was there at their pop-up event where people were playing basketball.
I wasn't there.
Okay, well, didn't miss you.
Bro,
and then
Ball. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, dude.
LaMelo Ball has Gutter Cat Gang sneakers that he wears during the games.
That's awesome.
That's incredible, man. Like to attract someone like that, that's obviously going to be insanely opinionated about any article of clothing he puts on. Go ahead.
Here's the crazy thing: Moonbird stole their logo, like just copied it directly, and then just went and said, "We'll that's ours now, and we'll call them birds." Look at Ben's hat right now. Is that Moonbirds or is that Gutter Cat Gang? You can't tell. It's the same thing. Just straight up stole it. And also the other thing I was going to say is it's Arkansas. Okay, that's how you say that. Team Arkansas is my understanding of that. Okay, so what a weird combination of names. It's like you got Arkansas and Gutter Cat Gang. Like,
the Gutter Cats is a great, like they came up with a better name for a sports team than the actual sports teams could come up with. Like the Washington, formerly Redskins, they like had a whole year where they were just like, we can't come up with a name. We're going to be Washington Football Team. when the Seattle Supersonics in the NBA moved to Oklahoma City, like the Thunder, bro, like really, like the Thunder, like that was the big name you guys came out with. Like Gutter Cats has personality, it has a vibe, And that event at New York where they rented the block right in front of Stadium Goods and they brought that famous truck with the basketball hoop on the back and they got two dope ballers and told like people, yeah, you can play 2-on-2 against these guys. Man, if I didn't have a popped Achilles and if Easy was in the mood to play, me and him would have took him on, and that would have been an absolute jam. But yeah, I think it's really cool.
And then you would have popped your Achilles.
That would have been, I would have popped my Achilles in front of an audience with phones going, saying this NFT guy just popped his Achilles. All right, so moving on, we got
Pia plays basketball once a year, but speaks about it passionately, like he's in the game. Like
running zone or man to man here.
It wasn't once a year before, and now I'm retired, so it's 0 times a year. But anyway,
I used to play tennis all the time when I was 16, in case you're wondering. So, and now
I was wondering that actually.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you fence also? Were you a fencer? Did you fence?
No, I did not fence.
That's a pretty cool sport, man. That's a combat sport.
I could picture
with a
Nick being a fencer.
No, but I did take 40 million photos of a tennis match, so I'll be selling those as well. You can check them out. What were you gonna say?
So we got Time Magazine. Nick's buddy Keith Grossman looks to turn all future subscriptions into NFTs. So a prominent United States brand going on record that they're just going all in on NFTs. And I believe the first major magazine of this sort, and the magazine industry, like, come on, man. Like, this is not 1994 where people were really getting magazine subscriptions. How are magazines even making money now? That's what I want to know. And so this could be a step in the right direction to basically be a kind of case study on NFT technology and NFT markets, impacting these legacy industries that were really struggling. What's going on, Nick?
Okay, so let's just imagine for a second. Imagine you have a magazine business, but literally no one's subscribing to it. Yeah. So what do you do? Like you switch the model, and you convert. You convert. I'm actually wondering how many subscribers subscribe to Time Magazine. There's probably more than 0.
There's more than 0, but think about it like this. Let's say the first year or whatever, for the first issue of Time Magazine that you can get a NFT-based subscription for, right? In theory, if the NFT thing works out, that would be the scarcest year because in theory, the audience would grow.
20 million.
Okay, 20 million. It's a lot.
What?
That's a lot. So they're going to be selling a lot of NFTs. I was just going to say that year one is going to be the scarcest. And let's say people want to collect all of the Time Magazine cover NFTs, which, let's be real, stranger things have happened. People collect actual magazines, right? Then that first year is going to be the bottleneck. So if you want to get in the mix with this at all, the flyer to take is on the very first shit that you can buy, because in theory, that's going to be the scarcest. And then that'd be the bottleneck if it does work. Maybe it just sucks and it just goes down. But then if it bounces back, whatever the bottleneck was is going to be the most valuable.
So these numbers make no sense because in 2017 it said they had 2 million with the circulation, down from 3 million, but their about page says every week over 20 million subscribers turn to Time. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe that's just like visitors on their website is the way that they're tracking it.
Well, I looked them up. In 2017 they had $173 million in revenue, and then in April 2021 they said that they do $200 million in annual revenue. So they're actually somehow increasing their revenue.
Well, 2021 probably included all the NFT sales.
Yeah, which I think they made like 10 million off of or something like that. I would imagine that a lot of Time Magazine's value maybe is coming from digital subscriptions. Maybe they're getting like a lot of growth with that. And if that is where they're seeing their growth, to lean into the NFT side, makes some sense. But it is really cool to see some legacy companies really adopting the NFT ethos. I mean, GameStop, right, making big moves into the NFT space. That's an old, kind of old, like not pre-internet, but you know what I'm saying, kind of old school company. Same with Time. It's ironic when you put that on like the backdrop of like Minecraft. You know what I mean? Like literally like an innovative digital company is like anti NFTs, but then like GameStop and Time are like, going all in. It's kind of a
and Radio Shack.
In Radio Shack.
I actually as ridiculous as it is, and as much as I sort of poke fun at it, I mean, they're at the forefront. How crazy is it that Radio Shack, Time Magazine, GameStop are basically at the bleeding edge of NFTs? And I gotta say, good on them. They're actually doing they're helping push things forward. I mean, Keith and the team at Time are definitely doing something in terms of maintaining relevance in this space. Because I don't know any other like modern brands that I think about that are doing things in NFTs. So regardless of what you think of, and sort of what I was saying about their declining subscriber base, their reduced reach and everything else, the reality is they have a large brand and they're trying to innovate. So I think that that's something that's, you can't hate on that. And given the size of this space, it's actually kind of, you got to find a way to kind of support them to some degree, only because. I
mean, they may actually be like, watch them be like the NFT magazine that like you actually want to like, read interesting stuff on. I mean, they did the Akutar cover, right? And then Brian Brinkman mentioned that they're going to do a Akutar open edition on Sunday. So they'll be making some more NFT revenue. So NFT is definitely helping the P&L over at Time Magazine.
Without question. I mean, Keith is all over all this stuff, right? He was at the Christie's event. He's insanely plugged into the NFT space. And to your previous comment of, it's funny that Time Magazine and GameStop and Radio Shack are all at the forefront of NFTs. Well, think about it like this. All of those businesses, those industries were not doing well. What's GameStop? Brick and mortar video game sales, when you can just buy the video game from your house and download it on the PS3. Why would that was a failing business up until, the 2020 or whatever stock run. Then you look at Radio Shack, it literally went out of business. And then Ty Lopez bought it or whatever. And that's brick and mortar electronics, but small, small store, whereas like Best Buy and these big ass stores, Micro Center, they're the big dogs, right? It's almost like the Walmarts of that business. But then you look at like a Minecraft that makes like a ton of money. They are a PS. That's what people are making fun of me because I said PS3. Look, I don't play video games, man. I don't know what to tell you. Are we on PS5? We're on PS5.
PS5 is the in-demand one, man.
People are like PS3.
You guys ever heard of that Sega Saturn?
Yeah, baby. Classic.
PS3 is
Sega
10 years
CD,
ago,
baby.
10 years ago, PS3. All right, my bad.
It's a lot easier to take risks when your back's against the wall, right? Like
exactly.
Companies that are, doing well and they're reporting to shareholders, it'll be difficult to say we took this big risk, we didn't read the market correctly and, lost shareholder value. So when your back's against the wall, it's a lot easier to jump into that kind of stuff, or you're in such a good position that you're able to weather the storm of any kind of repercussions and just take risks because you want to be innovative.
Exactly. And I also think that you can get an ego a little bit too. Look, Minecraft probably prints money. I would love to know, like, come on, they must print money. Video games print money. They absolutely do. Any sort of software-driven industry like that, the scalability is crazy. You literally have users addicted to the product. It's like a drug at that point. So they must print money, and they just maybe are a big-ass, slow-to-adopt new things corporate entity that's just like, yeah, we don't need this Web3 shit. We don't get it. I heard there's a lot of scams. I heard you can just right-click and save. I don't get it. Turn it off. That's it. So moving on. Unless any other thoughts on any of this?
No.
All right. Moving on. Vitalik Buterin, the young man who made Ethereum. Ethereum is only 40% complete, he said. After the Ethereum merge, there will be many more phases: the surge, the verge, the purge, and the splurge. I'm assuming that a lot of that is a joke, because he definitely like has a sense of humor for sure. Like, I know he's like a robot, but he like has a sense of humor for sure. And, we're at the precipice of this merge that they've been talking about forever. They seem to be insisting that it's going to happen in September. I don't know. You guys, we got the Ethereum boys on stage here with me. I am not one of them, but the other three, we got the Ethereum boys. What's the story here? What are we doing?
Ethereum. He's never used it. Oh wait, hold on. How have you been making money recently? It's all been on Ethereum.
I've been trading with
Got it,
Marin, bro.
but Bitcoin's the future of the financial system. But that's funny because all of the money you've been making is in Ethereum. It's like weird. But I would say right now that, and literally we're just losing money on Bitcoin. That's what it's doing to us. It's making us lose money. So you buy Ethereum if you want to make money. You buy Bitcoin if you want to lose money. And talk about, you know, some Yakamoto whatever, you know?
Well,
Yakamoto.
I'm just
which one of these are you most
Some
excited about?
Kawasaki or something.
I'll tell you what, I didn't even know what verge meant as a word. I had to look it up. For those that don't know what verge means, it's an edge or a corner.
On the
So, like,
verge.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Now I
You didn't know what the verge means?
It's not. It just didn't. When I read it, it looked weird. But now, yeah, you're like we're on the verge of innovation.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've used that word before. I like that one the best.
You used it without knowing what it meant.
I like.
Someone's
got to
make a meme, man. Kicks versus words, man. Like that's an epic battle.
I'm excited for The Verge. So wake me up when The Verge is ready.
Yeah, someone said The Verge was a 90s band. That is correct. And then it also is a large tech publication, if you're interested in it. The Verge,
yeah,
very large tech publication. They also have a YouTube. Anyways,
Dumb name,
main
though.
thought here is cool.
I like that they said like that they gave a specific number though, that it's like 40% complete, because you like really have to know what like 100% complete is to know that you're 40% of the way there. Hey, big fan of that guy. Helped me make a lot of money. I definitely dab it up with good old Buterin. I'm excited for the merge because that's the only one that I actually know what, when, or where, or what is going to happen with. So, but Splurge sounds pretty wild, dude. Splurge just when eats like 35K, and we're just
so fucking rich.
We're so fucking rich. Dude. It's unbelievable.
You just splurge money all over everybody.
By the time we get to the splurge, we're finally not still early.
Maybe they call it the splooge. I don't know. Maybe that was what you. There's
No,
a
splurge,
difference.
like splurging the money.
Okay.
Like splurging on.
Do you know what
diamonds,
splurge
splurging
means,
on
Nick?
gifts.
Yeah, I actually do. So someone was saying also, they were confused about Yakamoto. It's when you take Satoshi and Nakamoto and you put it together, you get Yakamoto. So do the math.
Do the math. What
Yakamoto was the famous World War II general, right? Japanese general, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure.
Okay, Benjamin.
What I'm excited about with this is it gives me 4 more times where I know I can pump my bags. So, buy the rumor, sell the news on each of these. Every time we're leading up to one, that's when you can expect that uptick, and I'll be looking to buy before and sell right before.
Yeah, we got this tweet right here where Vitalik Buterin claims that Ethereum will be able to process 100,000 transactions per second following the completion of key phases: the merge, surge, verge, purge, and the splurge.
You want to click on the image so we can see what that breaks down?
Absolutely.
The most scary thing would be if we got to the capacity for 100,000 transactions per second, but we didn't like need it at all. You know what I mean? We're doing like 1,000 a second's like all we need, and it's like, okay, we've way outscaled ourselves.
Okay, so the surge is sharding. So scroll down to the next one. The verge obviously includes a vertical tree. Makes a lot of sense. If we get down to the purge, hold on, don't go too fast. The purge involves the beacon chain and then also pre-compiling EVM implementations and obviously the banned self-destruct. You want to watch out for that one. And then the splurge, PBS censorship resistance. So I thought PBS was funded by the government and public and the public. I'm a big supporter of public broadcasting, but apparently he's not. So we're not going to be dealing with PBS. There's going to be in protocol PBS. So we're taking the public broadcasting system and putting it on the blockchain. So Sesame Street is going to be part of the splurge. So I'm really excited about that one. And short-term MEV mitigation. I'll
tell you what, I wish I paid a lot more attention in math class once we start getting deeper into this stuff. I don't know what a lot of this stuff means.
Well,
but
the VDF spec is definitely something you're going to be interested in.
Cool.
I'm most interested in the part of the splurge where it says miscellaneous but important extras. Whatever that is, I'm going to speculate it's a good thing. So that's what I'm excited about.
Is NFTs mentioned at all in this? Is there one mention of NFTs?
No, but with
where's
the
the
100,000 transactions every second, I mean,
Where's Yuga?
Yeah, exactly. Like, where's like other deeds, like gasless, like back-end integration?
sharding is a weird one for me because it's sort of questionable. Like, basically what they're running into is saying, like, we need more scalability, and it's something that I sort of have just personal concerns about from a technological standpoint. But we won't get into it because my mind is much superior to most people. And so it'll just become way too complicated for us to discuss. Yeah.
We got a real technologist.
I'll shard you right in the face, dude.
Exactly. I'll fucking shard in your face. We got a real technologist, Nifty Nick, on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed the show. The show is sponsored by FTX. You can sign up at thenifty.com/FTX. FTX is rolling out fractional shares stock trading. So that's going to be coming down the pike on the platform. That means that you can actually buy fractional shares of stocks if you want to diversify and not be down bad with crypto all the time. And there's no payment for order flow on that. No one's front running your trades. SPF's been moving and shaking all over the place, rising to prominence in this crypto bear market, showing everybody how liquid him and the gang over at FTX are, just bailing people out, man. Other people are falling down. He's bailing people out. Gotta love it. The platform is just getting taken to the next level. Make sure you check it out. Spend over $200 on crypto with our code, and you get $20 of free crypto, and you'll be paying the lowest fees in the game. Nick, what were you going to say?
They were paying us so much, they got to raise more capital, it sounds like. So looking forward to them doing that.
Thank you, SPF and FTX, for paying us so much money that you literally had to go and raise another funding round. No, anyway, this show happens every single day during the week, and our morning show on Twitter happens from 9 to 10:30 a.m. Make sure you follow the gang here, especially Benjamin, at XBenjaminX on Twitter, and also his news publication at NFT Soapbox. Or am I missing something there, Ben?
Well, I asked you about it at the beginning, but that was apparently an offensive question. So maybe now we find out. There we go.
That's Ben's news platform, ladies and gentlemen. The news platform. That's what it is, Nick.
If you see what I
Closing
did,
thoughts. Are you guys going to buy a potato?
that was a throwback. If you guys missed out on that, was a throwback to when Pio told me to shut my damn mouth. So
It was
if
a
you remember
callback.
that was back at the callback to earlier on in the show.
I thought you were in show business, Nick. I thought you would know it's a callback. So,
Okay.
News story of the day is that potatoes. I don't know, man. Like, look, I got Broken Sea right here. Whenever I open OpenSea, Pixelmon pops up, and I'm trying to see what's up with potatoes here. Apparently, they're pumping, but I don't know. We will catch you guys next time. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Hold on, you're going to leave them with a cliffhanger?
They're at 0.6 and rising.
Okay, there we go.
So
I kind of like the meme potential here. What if it's the next Goblin Town,
What was the bottom? 0.5?
Yeah, 0.4, I guess. Very quick, very briefly.
Okay. We'll see. Will potatoes moon? We'll catch up on that next week, okay? All right.